Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force.
They've outgrown their age of rebellion, dulled the Empire's edge, defeated Imperial generals and the Pirate Queen's dredge. They've been soldiers and scoundrels, what's there left to be? How about lost acolytes looking for their force and destiny? There's a seer, hermit, investigator, and teacher. Better watch your back or a vibe or ring's gonna reach you. Will this team find the light or will darkness win the day? Find out with the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Previously on Heroes of the Hydian Way, Skip, Koba, Kesh, and Hillary escaped the grasp of an unexpected mega-quarren lurking beneath the waters on the planet Dak. With knowledge, weapons, and supplies gathered from the underwater Jedi facility, they have made themselves as ready as they can to finally meet Soljo Ward, maker of the holocron, teacher of foresight, and possible threat to the future of the galaxy. Imperial Inquisitor Carl is no doubt catching them up as they approach their goal. Danger lies ahead, and danger paces behind. Can they afford to face two enemies? Can they make certain that they will not have to? Join them this week as they ask some final Kheshtions.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Fantasy Flight Games' Force and Destiny system. And the adventure we're using is inspired by Chronicles of the Gatekeeper, as developed by Tim Cox and Max Brook. This is Act 3, Episode 10, and I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure.
I'm Kesh, the Trandoshan mystic, and if I were going to start a new career, I think I'd like to be a pilot. Think about it. It's a job where you get to sit down all the time. It seems pretty cool. Make a decent living as far as I hear, though the lack of thumbs might be a problem. Hey, Skip, is it pretty good being a pilot?
Wait, you don't have thumbs?
We've been over this.
I don't know, I saw a holo vid the other day that made it seem kind of like maybe Trandoshans had thumbs.
Shockingly, Imperial media doesn't always pay close attention to getting non-human species accurate.
Exactly. Thank you, Koba.
It'd be weird to introduce myself after that, though, right? Like, who does that? I'm Koba, the Doug Sentinel. And I guess if I were going to get a new career, I don't know. Fringer, maybe. Strike out on the outer rim, way out there, by myself.
Is that a career or a specialization, though? I don't remember.
I don't understand the question.
I don't either. I mean, a career, it's like something you do for a living, Hillary.
Well, all right. Well, I'm just really thrown off by the fact that Koba left off she an expert. So, I guess it's my turn now. I am Skip. I am a Clarence Secret Hermit. That has not changed. And if I were to go get a new job, I think what I would do is, Hillary's old way of life does sound really exciting with all the traveling and getting to talk to people in big crowds. But, with a kind of persona on. I wouldn't be, Skip this weirdo. I would be Skip the fantastic at some talent that I'm sure I have. Maybe jumping. I don't know. Maybe I could learn how to juggle.
I can teach you. That is one of my specializations. And you should always have an amount of honesty. So while you don't necessarily want to be Skip the weirdo, which you kind of are one way or the other, you just are yourself, you want to keep aspects that add to the truth, because that brings it to the core at the performance. It really sells the performance to the crowd when you are yourself, but bigger. Metaphorically, not like that giant corn we just saw. All right, I'm Hillary, and I'm Melina. And if I were going to get a new career, I wouldn't. I would just do the same one better.
Boom, boom, boom.
And with Skip. Assuming you'd want to come with me on my journeys to talk to people and perform and throw things.
Yeah, but I mean, only if I get to be Lord High Lord.
There's only ever room for one Lord High Lord at a time.
Okay.
Give me a chance to step up, and then you could be one. Maybe I should be King High Lord.
Ooh, yeah.
Lord High King? Yes.
All right, well, I kind of feel, though, with that naming mechanism, wouldn't it be King High King?
It's baby steps.
Ooh, I like hiking.
Let's do it. We'll figure this out once we're not horribly, horribly dead.
That's true.
To learn more about our heroes, we get one to ask another a question, and it is now Skip's turn.
Well, Hillary, that really kind of segues us really nicely into the question that I was intending to ask Kesh. Hey, Kesh.
Well, that was a curveball. Yeah, Skip.
Well, so, if you were as big as that corn back there, what kind of life do you think you'd lead?
Well, I think I would do a lot less interstellar travel, for one.
Oh yeah, you'd need really, really big ships.
Yeah, I think that would be a problem. But I you know what? Maybe that Quarren's life's actually pretty good. The droids in the station were talking about how they would hibernate a lot. That sounds pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat other people with gifts. That doesn't sound particularly nice. But maybe you could help out some of the local towns and things like that. You have no problem lifting roofs onto houses, I guess, or whatever you do when you're really, really big.
So you'd be a construction worker who takes a lot of naps?
Yes.
That's fair.
Sounds like a pretty good gig to me.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are Trandoshan digits really made for fine manipulation?
No, not one bit.
That would be why she is placing the roofs, not assembling the roofs.
Yes. Definitely no assembly. I was never very good with model kits. I tried to be one of those spacers that would have a little collection of ships and stuff. I just broke them all the time.
That's good, because those spacers are usually kind of weirdos. And not like in the fun, I'm skipping, I'm kind of a weirdo way, in like the super nerdy way.
If you really look at Trandoshan hands, is it that I have no thumbs or that I have two thumbs?
Interesting.
So our destiny pool for this session is back to 2 light side points and 4 dark side points.
So the very last thing that happened in last episode was the silver shell shooting from the watery surface of Moncala into the air, water flowing away, the open hatch closing as water drains from it, and then kicking off into space. And then once it's clear of the gravity well, jumping off into hyperspace along the path that Kesh was able to find. Right now, the ship itself has been in hyperspace for about a day. The path is going to take maybe an hour or more. We will cut to the inside of the ship with one cargo bay that is now completely very well cleaned, though somewhat cluttered to one side. The ship itself looking like almost nothing has touched it, except for the stuff that was left on the dining room table.
I don't remember what was left on the dining room table.
There is a card essentially saying, "Be seeing you soon," and a gift card for Biscuit Baron.
No, keeping the gift card. Can't poison those. Or can he?
So you said we didn't have very long to go, right? Because we were pretty close.
I'm really figuring that's like a scene, and then we'll drop out of hyperspace.
Yeah, for the records of the other people, Kesh had found the location of Korriban back in her episode, hence why we know where to go.
Okie doke.
I think Kesh is probably busy, like, preparing a bag or something, just trying to get some things together, trying to figure out what's still usable aboard. I also think as it's happening, she's going to find Koba.
Okay. Koba is probably in his room.
So then, she'll knock or hit the chime or whatever to get your attention. And once the door is presumably open.
Yeah.
So how did you and Hillary find this ship?
It popped up on the station's scanners. It just appeared in the water. Didn't come from the surface, it just showed up.
Have you looked it over to make sure it's not being tracked?
No, we didn't really have the time, as you saw.
Why don't you take the time now?
Fine by me.
It's just a bad feeling, I suppose.
If you ask me, I wouldn't mind getting another crack at Carl.
That might happen anyway. But if he's going to track us, I want to make him work for it. Does Koba have a prosthetic hand now? Or a prosthetic foot now?
He has a prosthetic foot.
Well, we might have more than just Carl to deal with on Korriban.
Yeah, that seems to be how things are going.
Although Ward seems to think that he's going to find an apprentice among our number. But I'm more worried about Carl filling that position. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll decide to kill each other.
What do you think Ward wants an apprentice for?
Nothing good. He talked of waiting for the right moment. My guess is starting his own little empire, maybe challenging the existing one. Maybe that wouldn't be so bad, but it just doesn't sit right. I don't think this is the way.
Maybe not, but the Jedi Order hardly seems to have worked out either.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna learn more when we arrive, and maybe we'll be able to figure out the right path from there.
Koba nods.
Kesh will turn away and start back to making her preparations.
If I recall correctly, on the ship, the personal quarters are very close to the cockpit, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So every time you've gone past the cockpit to go in and then out of Koba's room, you realize that Skip is in there. And the first time, I feel like you probably just assumed that Skip was talking to Gudge. But then on your way back, you hear, and then Gudge and I saw this really giant thing, but you saw that, obviously. And so that's kind of where we are now. That's everything that happened since we left you. I'm really glad that you're okay.
Are you talking to the silver shell, Skip?
Hi, Cash. Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Okay.
And she'll continue moving on. I think rather than Gudge, Cash's first thought was thinking that you were probably talking to Hollow Ward.
Oh.
Which you've done before, and she's just going to let you continue on with your conversation.
Well, they had to tell the ship everything that happened since they last saw it.
Fair enough. Oh, and if the ship gives you any answers, let me know.
Well, that would just be silly. But I will.
So, I don't suppose there were any stim packs on the pallet that we brought aboard.
I go with that there was 3.
Okay, is anybody besides me not carrying a stim pack right now?
I don't think I have one.
No, because I have these notes where I found some stim packs on that freighter that we trashed.
Okay. So Skip still has some.
Yes.
In that case, I'll pass one of the stim packs over to Koba.
Okay.
And go ahead and keep the other 2 for myself, because I got a feeling we're going to need them.
So I'm assuming we laid in a course to Moorband, or are we, like, how far are we looking?
It's pretty close to Dak. So I think the assumption is we're already in hyperspace on our way there, and It's not very far.
That was the assumption I was working off of. That punch out of the water, Kesh brings up, this is the coordinates we need to use, and then you would jump to hyperspace. That the path there would have been charted by the stellar cartography area of the base.
Mm-hmm.
You've had about a day in hyperspace, and the hyperspace clock is counting down. Now it's under an hour. So if there's anything that you're wanting to do on the ship, relaxing or of a discussion, now would be the time.
So if it's also been a day, we would have recovered strain and
a
little bit more
strain would be
wounds.
recovered. A point or 2 of wounds if you have any.
I did, and I'll
Okay,
finally
okay.
get me back up to full, though.
Oh, but I can finally mark off Stimpack use.
Yep. If we don't have any other little solo or paired off scenes, I think before we jump out of hyperspace, Kesh would try to gather everybody just to kind of have that one more conversation before it all kicks off.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe cut to that little lounge area with the couches and everything, where we've had more than one group chat throughout the past few days or weeks or however long it's been. So we're all clear when we get there. We're going to be confronting Sojo Ward. We've learned a fair bit about him throughout this journey and who he's become. I know I'm the only one who's seen things more recently, but she looks over at Hillary. I'm not certain this is going to be like with Markov, where we can talk him down. If you want to try, we can try. But I think we need to be prepared to stop him.
I think that is fair. We've seen the darkness he has chosen. We've seen the fear, and we've seen the dangers that he can represent. But we should not assume that that is all that he is, because we've seen where he came from as well. And there may be that still waiting. He is not safe for anyone at this time. Least of all if our friend and benefactor, he holds up the gift card, is also there.
I suspect he'll find a way to be there.
Do we think that between the 3 of you, I will not count myself because I cannot, in any good conscience, be enough to go up against a Jedi? I mean, we all know the stories. They're not insignificant.
I don't know.
Hillary's right. Considering what we've been able to figure out how to do in a matter of weeks and without any serious training, I think we have to be ready for the possibility that someone who did this for years is going to be beyond something we can handle.
Yeah, but you could also think about it the totally opposite way, in that, so we had a really bad fight, Koba lost a leg, and all that. But we survived. We were in a really not advantageous situation for us, and we still kicked his butt. Mostly. So, with planning and preparation, and we've done a lot of planning and preparation, we have these fancy glowing weapons now, I really think that, there's 4 of us and 2 of them. Yeah, sorry, Gudge, there's 5 of us and 2 of them.
Ideally, we would not be facing both at the same time, I hope.
That's a really good point. Planning, see? We didn't have that then. So we can either be all Koba about it and be like, oh, it's never gonna happen, or just once we could have the Skip approach and be like, you know what? We've done a lot, and we have a lot of really surprising talents. You know, so maybe we kind of got this. Maybe.
With everything that's been raised, can anybody think of a way to maybe ensure Carl and Ward don't see eye to eye? If they're the two strongest on the field, who's to say they have to be against us? It could be against each other.
I have a feeling their goals won't line up, not perfectly. That might give us an opening.
Because as far as we know, Carl is a loyal servant of the Empire, right?
Seems to be. And I don't think he wants to go make friends with former Jedi.
I don't think he knows about the former Jedi. I think he knows about the holocron. And that's about it. He doesn't seem like the type to be patient at learning.
No. And however far Ward may have fallen, I don't know if he's likely to want to serve the Empire himself.
I just had an idea.
Would you like to share with the table, dear?
Yeah, I was just sort of, waiting for someone to say, yeah, Skip, what's your idea?
Oh, I was going to ask if you were thinking what I was thinking.
I don't know, because I was thinking that we pop open our box and get our friend in the box, who is kind of, a better version of Ward, to maybe tell us if Ward has any secrets, because I think that, or, secrets or weaknesses. Because I think that Boxward would be pretty amenable to helping us, because Boxward isn't bad yet, right?
No. Boxward is like an older version of Ward. Last time I talked to him, he didn't really see eye to eye where current Ward is.
Alright then. So, we just have to figure out what Ward's weakness is.
See, that's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking, in spite of what I was saying earlier, Koba, do we want to invite Carl ourselves?
That may guarantee that they'll come to blows.
It also will put, I think, a time limit on things before the Empire shows up in force, and our chances of getting out of there drastically go down.
And the question is that even if Ward and Carl are both dealt with, how confident are we that someone else won't be left to take whatever Carl wants back to his masters?
Should we perhaps, with all due apologies to our friend, the box, Ward, split the holocron again?
You mean, break it?
Yes, because that's what Carl was after. He doesn't know about Ward, as far as we know. And Kesh, you've spent the most time speaking with Boxward. Would he teach Carl? Knowing what Carl is?
I'm not sure. Not sure if he can identify that, but he seems to be more aware of the morality differences. Maybe not. The other thing is, I've had the holocron for a while. I'm not sure that there's too much in there that the Empire probably doesn't already have a hold of from some other source. If we wanted to keep it out of their hands, to maybe further that knowledge, but if it's a choice between saving the holocron and stopping Ward, I don't know.
Perhaps Skip has a good point, and we should start by asking our inside man, as it were.
Alright, well, Skip's gonna dig for the box.
You pull out the holocron and activate it. It does its rise up, break apart into a bunch of pieces, twist around, and the hologram of Ward shows up.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, hello. It is good to see you, Padawan Skip.
Yeah, I'm gonna... Yeah.
You seem to be a bit out of sorts. And then Hollow Ward is going to take a look at the rest of you. Kesh in her armor, Koba in his coat, and Hillary in his performer's outfit. Oh, this does look like it is a council, one might say. You all seem very serious.
Well, you know, we have some questions for you, sort of, kind of. Yeah, Kesh.
We are getting ready to confront Sojo Ward.
Oh, you have found a path to the darkest place.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's weird. But yeah, we kind of need your help with you. Other you.
We were wondering if you had any advice or there's any knowledge about him you could pass to us that we haven't already learned.
Well, he is most certainly an arrogant person. For it is definitely an arrogant sort with the Jedi that focuses on trying to see the exact future that is to come, not allowing it to be enough to see a single possible future, but no, must see the accurate future, to the point of losing the will for context with it, focusing in on actions without seeing the context to it. That is what I am understanding from his time on Jorah, that the actions became all that was there, and not the context of what people were doing, what caused people to end up doing what they did. That does seem to be his most recent style, but the information that I was given, that I have, is only 20 years recent. Even being on a planet such as this for such a long time, it is hard to say what is going to happen. Isolation for 20 years can cause schisms with reality, especially with someone as powerful as Ward is in the Force, or with the Scorekeeper's blessing, as some would say.
How do you know if someone is a worthy Padawan? They won't use the knowledge inside of you for the wrong reasons.
That is a journey of a Padawan, to learn the reasons to use the Force, how to rely upon it and how to guide it. Anyone who has access to the Force can wield it, but a knight's journey with their Padawan is to open the Padawan to the Force in such a way that they feel the responsibility that is given. That this is a gift, but it increases the amount of ways that one can bring good, but also the amount of ways one can bring ill to the world.
What about you? You are, as you've said, not Sojo, but a collection of his consciousness, in a way. How do you know whom is worthy of your tutelage?
For a construct such as I, there is some circuitry involved that while there is judgment, there is also a base understanding and emanations of people. When the emanations of someone has become too corrupt, it is at that point where the activation sequence becomes much more difficult for someone. It isn't as what happened with the four of you to start with, where attuning yourself in the Force to the holocron allows me to be. It is also finding the peace within oneself to be open to the teaching.
Well, that removes one worry.
It is a matter of timing and a matter of impatience. While I have been able to teach one such as Knight Kesh to become more peaceful and to read the future, such as in the ways that Soljo has gleaned within these crystals, there are those who have been able to create a tranquility within their own selfishness. It is possible for those of a corrupted nature to pause long enough to learn. It merely takes much more effort. Power comes easy. Manipulation and the nuance is much, much harder. And the willingness to live with themselves afterwards.
If we fail in our task, you may end up in the hands of such individuals. I know you're not exactly sentient in certain senses, but we could also separate you, try to make it harder for that knowledge to be recovered or destroy the holocron. Would that be preferable? I'd rather not see everything that you know be lost, even if it ends up in the wrong hands for a time.
Knowledge is but a tool. Whether you use it for positive or negative outcomes is based on the wielder. As much as I might judge on how someone is not the ability to learn something new and grow a cornerstone to the Force and to the sentience that we deal with?
I fear I have myself chosen the wrong path with this question, because the decision to destroy our friend here would be made out of fear, and the assumption of what would happen. Would that be the wrong choice then, or the right choice for the wrong reasons? I don't know. I'm an entertainer, I'm not made to think this way. I was never supposed to be the one helping save the galaxy. I can see why Soljo hurt.
I think you raise a good point, Hilary. So then I think, at least where the holocron is concerned, we roll the dice on it. So do we contact Carl?
Did we turn up any tracking devices?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
It wasn't particularly hard to find, but it was in the cockpit on, I'm assuming, the engineer's station.
Okay. Imperial?
Yes.
I don't think we'll need to. There's someone with a tracking device in the cockpit. I haven't deactivated it yet. Presuming he's still tracking us, he's probably not far behind.
Okay, then. And I guess the last order of business is how we start things off. If we can find it, I wouldn't mind taking out Ward's hyperspace ring, the hyperdrive capable piece of his starfighter, if we can find it in orbit, just to limit his options. But that also means when we land, Silvered Shell for a time might be the only way off the planet. Maybe it would be best if, before we pick a landing site, we deactivate that tracker, throw it at an airlock. That way, Carl at least doesn't know exactly where the ship is and blows it up from orbit or something.
I think we can do that.
And then, well, I think I know the structure where we're gonna find Ward. It's, well, I think the statues on the throne will be pretty easy to spot. We start by talking and, well, if that doesn't pan out, we'll fight. Any other, thoughts?
We're flying into too many unknowns. The best we can do is see what things are like on the ground and adapt accordingly.
Yeah. Well, then, just want to say, it has been an honor getting to travel with each of you. And, it's been the same to fight alongside you. However this thing turns out.
You know, that's the kind of stuff they always say in the Hollows before a climactic moment where someone dies tragically, right?
Okay, that's it. Nobody's dying tragically. Like I said, we, maybe... Everything's gonna be fine.
What if I was considering retirement after this case?
2 weeks?
Go ahead. Retire.
I see where you're going with this, Koba. I just don't think Skip has seen the same hollows that we have.
They don't make them like they used to.
I just wanted to say that just to have it said, okay? Not planning on anybody dying except for Carl and probably Ward, and...
Nobody's dying. Koba gets to retire. Although, Koba, I really don't think you want to retire. I think that you sitting still would probably make you really agitated, like even more than you already are. So, I would probably hold off on the retirement plans, in the immediacy. But, anyway, and then we've all got to go back and visit Hillary's family. Together. And be introduced as, their dad's weirdo friends. And the grumpy uncle. That's you, Koba.
Do you think they want to know what specializations we all have, too?
What?
When you're making a show, it's good to know everybody's specializations.
And maybe around now's where we start hearing that alarm for coming up out of hyperspace.
You come out of hyperspace, and there above you is a giant red planet with bands of white clouds.
When the hyperspace tweedle goes off, Skip is going to rush back to the cockpit and thank the ship very much and pat, the console.
We're wanting to follow Kesh's plan.
Then we've got a hyperspace ring to look for and a tracker to deactivate.
I think the tracker can take a flying leap at this point.
The tracker is also very easy to find. It isn't in the engineering console or anything like that. It's sitting on it with a cord going into the USB charger.
Okay.
It's the black box that the leverage team puts so that people know they're being watched.
Still, let's remove that. Maybe shove that out of an airlock. And then see if we can find a hyperdrive.
In that case, I do want to get a sensor. Ooh, wow. This actually has really good sensors for a transport. It goes to medium. I guess then we need someone to give us a computers check.
Not it.
Does anybody have any ranks or an intellect above 2?
I've got 2 rings.
I feel like that's a Koba job.
I was about to say, Koba had a drone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Difficulty?
I'm going to go with average with 1 setback.
1 advantage.
I'm going to go with you're picking up a hyperspace ring, but it looks like this hyperspace ring has been destroyed. Instead of a ring, it's now just a band where a shot went through one piece of it and it sort of unfurled.
This just seems like everybody's making our job easy so far.
Does that mean that when we land our ship on the planet, we are providing hyperspace travel?
No, I intend to do something about that.
Okay.
But yes, it does, Hillary. But if we don't, Carl will. Alright, Skip, can you get us down there?
Mm-hmm.
So, as you descend into the atmosphere, most of the topology is jagged peaks. Like, this is a planet that just does not seem that inviting. As you go down, it seems it is just peaks and valleys. Not even ridges, just a lot of spires. As you fly over, in the valleys, it looks to have quite a bit of loose material just blowing in the valleys, sandstorm-like, that's in the air. The readings on the ship tell you that, yes, this is technically a breathable atmosphere, but there is a boatload of dust.
This place looks really dry. I don't like dry.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be very pleasant for any of us.
Can we find before we land?
The thing that might actually make a fair bit of sense is...
Seek.
Yes, seek. Seek makes more sense than what I was about to say.
I've seen the place that Ward was at. I took a force power, like I knew I was going to try to track down things. But I got 3 dark side pips. So, how are we doing? I'm going to flip. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 strain and 2 more conflict.
The way it works out for Kesh is, as Skip and Koba are in the pilot and co-pilot seat, I'm figuring Kesh is standing behind and in between, sort of looking out, scanning over the peaks and seeing the winds just blow through the valleys. For Kesh, how does this feel, using the dark side for...
I think Hillary was hitting the nail on the head earlier. I think Kesh is operating a lot more out of fear than she would like to admit to herself. She's afraid that we're making all the wrong decisions. She's afraid that some of these people beside her or herself aren't going to make it off of this world. And she's afraid that Ward might say the right things to convince any one of them, maybe even her, that he is right. And so that fear is swirling around her as she reaches out and senses that darkness that is Ward, that trapped her in a vision before and held her, and this is her reaching out to it. I think there's even like a flash in her mind's eye of Ward like turning and looking in the direction where the ship is descending. As I think it's sort of a bit of a mutual thing at the moment. And then Cash is going to lift up a claw and point out the cockpit in the correct direction. He's over there.
What's the expression on Kesh's face as this is happening?
She's tight-lipped at the moment. She's standing pretty like straight and tall compared to what she sort of normally does. It reminds you a bit of when you've seen her prepared to get into a fight. When any of that like jokiness or anything like that is just gone.
So after you say what direction to go in, Skip is actually going to reach over and put one of their hands just on top of your hand. All right, I'll take us in if you're ready.
Yeah.
All right. And Skip's going to pilot us over in that direction.
I do want to get an assisted piloting space roll. The roll's just going to be a red and a purple. Then it would also have the 2 setbacks on account of handling. Mostly because there's a lot of dust getting kicked up, and it feels like an actual piloting roll.
Yeah.
Seems like a reasonable idea.
I honestly think that Hillary's not in the cockpit right now, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like Koba would be the one in the co-pilot seat.
Yeah, Koba's probably still in the cockpit at this point.
Well, how does that help?
Do you want me to actually make a co-pilot action, or just state that I'm assisting?
I'll leave that up to you, whether you're wanting to do the assist or whether you're wanting to do the co-pilot action, because both are useful in this situation.
What's the difficulty of the piloting check?
The piloting check is red and a purple, and 2 setback because of handling.
Okay. I'll just assist.
Okay, doke. Which means for me again, I don't remember.
Boost.
Just a boost, since I think your agility is at least as high as mine. 3.
All right. I'm rolling. Red, purple, setback, yellow, green, boost, and 2 force points. Okay, that's 1. So that'll be... Okay, so that's 2 successes, a threat, and a triumph. I will say the only actual success that wasn't me rolling force points was that their boost from Koba.
Koba knows the game.
Yeah.
And there's one point where you're flying and Koba points out, like, not there, or watch it a second or two before you see a mountaintop appear out of the sand. The blowing sand. Thus able to dodge away. The silver chill settles down onto the sand. Like, this has definitely been mined out, that at one time, it looks like an amphitheater in the bowl shape, like, and the tiered shape, but it is also massive. It almost looks like your friend from earlier could fit fairly comfortably here. In fact, as you look down, you do see statues that are standing there. You can tell that in behind them, the stands actually look to be the fronts of buildings built into the rock face itself. And everything here is red in one shade or of another. The statues, which, once you get your bearings on how big everything looks, the statues are gigantic. A good 500 feet tall in fairly imposing poses. It doesn't look like they're in motion. They look like they're standing guard, but they're also 500 feet tall. The wind dies down, allowing you to see into this bold area. Where the ship is, you can tell that this is still going to be a couple kilometer walk from where you are to where the encounter with Carl is going to be.
Cash is gonna throw the bag she'd prepared over her shoulder, head over to the ramp, and lower it.
Hillary's gonna give everybody scarves to wrap their faces in.
Thank you. I lost my last scarf on Nemoidia.
I can find some more material. We can try again. They're meant to be used, you know?
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at DeuteriumIce.
You can find me at 12th Night. That's 12th Night with a K.
I'm at Ace Picorito, AcePikorito.
You can find me over at Ren Out of Time. Let's Ren like the bird. Out of time, like, you know, perpetually running late for things.
And I'm at LesLitGS. That's Leslie with a typo. GS.
That's delightful.
And we are all at theheidiandway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Plus, you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
We're also on Facebook as The Heidian Way. You can holocom us at heroes@theheidianway.com.
If you like what we do and you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/theheidianway.
And if you want to send us some goggles for the windy places that we keep ending up, you can send us some credits over at ko-fi.com/theheidianway.
Oh shoot, I think I have goggles in Skip's inventory. I need to check.
I think you do. That sounds right.
I do. What's happening?
I think we're waiting for Brandon to do his intro.
Yes.
So nobody addressed me.
I'd said thank you, Koba.
I keep trying.
I know,
We
we,
did that
keep
well.
sweating him back.
I hear the feverish typing of Brandon, and I really hope it's to acknowledge that I just totally made fun of Barrowan.
No, I had something else in my brain. I have to cue things now, so I'll get to that in an item or two.
Okay.
So expect my retort in about 20 minutes.
The Brandon list of gripes.
I mean, fair. I am thinking.
It's a dangerous pastime.
I was just going to say
Sorry.
that, but I wasn't sure if this was the right audience for that, so I just bit my tongue.
It's okay.
I know.
Leslie will always say that to anybody.
Hold on. On a call with both me and Leslie, you're
Make the Disney.
concerned that Disney lyrics might, I don't know, whiff.
You never know.
I think in that case you can know.
I was about to say, now you do. For
Now
future.
you definitely know. And knowing is half the battle.
Along with the two other halves.
I see where you're going with this, Hillary. I don't know that Skip has seen the same hollows as us.
Are you,
Why are you talking to yourself?
yeah,
Hillary, are you okay?
God, oh my gosh.
From where you are to where the encounter with Carl is going to be.
Carl's here! The cops are here!
Oh no. Cash is
No
gonna
surprise.
throw the bag she'd prepared over her shoulder, head over to the ramp, and lower it.